What's up, homies? The Khaiza is back for one of these real talks, right? We haven't done a real talk in a long while. I think like the last one we did, I'll have to like check on my YouTube, but I can check on like my thumbnails. What's the last? Oh, the Evo real talk about like me making a video about the Evo crew getting like the key to the city from approval from the governor and the mayor of Los Angeles. Yeah, that was a real like fighting game wholesome like milestone, right? That not a lot of people appreciate but you know, definitely like us in like in the fighting game community, hell yeah, we've come like a long way. Started from the bottom, now we're here, sort of thing. Unfortunately though, today we have to like step back down a little bit down back to like the bottom, right? Because there was like one tweet that the Khaiza saw, and definitely like kind of got me like hot and bothered, and I like quoted tweet about this, right? Ignore whatever's like at the bottom of the dancing like spider butts. Yeah, so there was like a post a while back, probably like blur out the name in like editing, every KOF discussion online, and it's like a cute like little funny like political like newspaper cartoon, like some senator or mayor or governor saying, "Who thinks KOF is sick?" Everybody raises their hands. Who wants to play KOF? And then everybody's hand is down, and just you see like a little fly like buzzing around, or like I can imagine like hearing some crickets in the air or something like that. But yeah, man, like this kind of pick, I mean, of course, like it's harmless, right? It's meant for, you know, like hee hee ha ha humor, but from the following aftermath of this like image, kind of brought a lot of like attention to fighting game fans, especially KOF fans who really love like SNK's like baby franchise, right? Started from like fucking King of Fighters like 1994 all the way like to like 15. Honestly, made like a quote tweet thread about this. It's, yeah, like KOF, I'm in like in the same like boat. It feels like this is like a photo on me personally, and one of my like homies, IGN2Real, sent that shit to me, and it was like, yeah, this is kind of like how I feel on like a daily basis, trying to get like my homies to play like other games outside of like the ones they know, right? And the reason why I always do that is because, you know, I always love like variety. I love like trying out like new fighting games, right? I've been loving like Mortal Kombat 1's like combat system. I've been liking Street Fighter 6. I've been rediscovering like KOF, right? So I like to put my hand in the fighting game sandbox and see like how awesome is it, right? How cool is it, you know, sort of thing, right? And to get like my friends to try like other fighting games, it's like I have to like forcefully like try to like hold their hand all the damn time, because, you know, they really like their own de facto games, and they're not, in my perspective, not willing like to try right? Especially for like KOF, right? Now the reason why like it's so like impactful for me, because, you know, is that KOF is a series home and brewed by SNK, and SNK is really much like the I mean, they have like dabbled with other like genres outside of their pinnacle fighting game like structure, right? They've made Metal Slug most prominently, and it's a series that's still it's a series that's still continuing to this day. There's the old school like Psycho Soldier, the franchise where Team Psycho Soldier is from, like Athena and all that jazz. There's Team Ikari Warriors, where Team Ikari Warriors is from, right? And yeah, so they have like other like games that they have under their belt, right? but mostly everybody knows SNK for their deep, like intricate, high execution high execution platform fighting game, right? Not platform like a Smash-like platform, but just like high execution ceilings like platform. You know what I mean? Yeah, like KOF. And this is really like in a casual perspective. That's why, like, you know, this tweet down here really like exists for that like purpose. Is that KOF is really like a sick looking game, right? There's a lot of like cool characters. The roster is all based on like teams, but each character is hella like defined and unique, right? You know, the lore of KOF is really interesting, right? Did like a whole like KOF lore reaction back in the day, hyping up KOF 15. So it was a really fun time just to like learn and digest the KOF like nuances, the King of Fighters nuances. And of course, like SNK, right? SNK is a fun franchise. They are like the pinnacle, the cream of the crop for like fighting games. If not for Capcom, if not for NetherRealm, if not for Bamco, right? If they didn't have like their fighting game divisions, then SNK would really like be up there. Historically though, SNK always have played second fiddle because, again, like there were companies like Capcom, Sega was also around, Bamco with Soul Calibur, Virtua Fighter, all of the crazy different Street Fighter games and the Darkstalker games from Capcom. So they were just pretty much dominating the arcade platform. And of course, SNK was still roaming around, but and it had multiple entrees for the KOF series. KOF 94, 95, 96, then you get to like the 99s with the NES Saga, and then like the 2000s and like in the late 2000s, right? No pun intended. But SNK always had to like play second fiddle with Capcom, even though their fighting games both KOF, Real Bout, or Fatal Fury for the English audience, and Samurai Showdown, or Samurai Spirits in the Japanese crowd, all are really sick, but they didn't get like much appeal casually here, right? Right? So it's very like, you know, that's how like SNK is. And not only that, because SNK also went into like bankruptcy in the late 2000s, early 2010s, if I remember correctly, right? Their biggest like comeback was in the PS3 era when Street Fighter 4 was coming out. SNK launched KOF 15, right? A huge like resurrection of like fighting games, which was in the part of the fighting game renaissance, right? When Street Fighter 4 first launched, and then a whole like wave of fighting games sprouted from Street Fighter 4's success, right? And SNK was like, you know, homebrewed into like the 2D sprite era, and KOF 13 was hella interesting because it was the last 2D sprite-based engine before moving to the experimental KOF 14 engine, where they used Unreal Engine 4 and characters had 3D polygon, 3D models and mocaps, motion captures. I don't know how well King of Fighters 13 really like did at like launch, but definitely was, you know, community loved enough to get like a rollback netcode version called Global Match, and you could buy it right now on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch, unfortunately. I wish it was like on PC, but then again, with PC you have like ways to do it with like parsec and stuff like that, so you can definitely work KOF, right, with those PC elements, you know? So KOF definitely is like a fun fighting game series, right? But again, like I said, it has like a high execution barrier, and the game is very nuanced, right? Like the way of how like KOF's like engines work is that it's not just like you get to do like I mean, of course, there is sweeps. It is technically like a 1v1 like combat, but to excel in KOF is that you gotta be fast with your inputs, right? You gotta know like the different strings for each character that you play. KOF has always been like a team-based game, right? Where you select like 3 characters and that will be your squad. So for a lot of people, 3 characters feels like, you know, too much, right? We have like nowadays pee pee poo poo brains for like fighting games, even though there's like now like a majority of newcomers coming into like fighting games, right? Courtesy, thankfully, because of Guilty Gear Strive and Street Fighter 6, right? But we only ever play like just like one character, and that's pretty much about it. And for learning like other characters, it's like it's too much, even though that's like, you know, other games have existed where like 3-man squads were there, like Ultimate Marvel 3, Dragon Ball Fighters, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, right? KOF is, you know, nothing short of that, right? It has very explosive combos, right? It has a lot of like execution. I think I said like execution like 3 times because, you know, that's like the mainstay for SNK fighting games, is that they're very known for like their weird as fuck inputs for certain characters, right? Half circle back forward. Well, I mean, that's also there for like Guilty Gear. But, you know, there's quarter circle back, half circle forward. You have to like, you know, churn the butter, not like the actual motion, but like churn the butter on your stick to actually get like the motion to, excuse me, come out, right? So, and that's like a big like issue for a lot of like, you know, modern day fighting game like players. I mean, of course, that can be like, you know, debatable, but SNK has always been like known that ever since like in the beginning, and in KOF 14 and KOF 15 they tried to lower that down so that every character has like a universal level 3 climax special move. Everybody has like a general move that negates like pressure and you could continue your own pressure. Shatter Strike. Everybody, the max mode in previous KOF games were hella fast, where they like pop like a special glow and they have cool looking shit for their combos. Now KOF max modes are a lot more slower. They're a lot more manageable to like the eye, so you can do like crazy cool combos without having to like memorize, you know, memorize like the strings for max mode cancels, right? But still, it's like KOF still gets like dogged on dirty, because even though like the game looks sick, nobody really like wants to play them, right? And I like argue this, right, in one of the Khaiza's like tweets, like again made like a threaded tweet about this, that KOF is a fun game to play, but unfortunately not one fighting games from SNK fighting games always have to play second fiddle to like, you know, the big top 3 that dominate like the fighting game sphere, or like big top 4, top 5, or even like top 6. There's always going to be Guilty Gear is like definitely still alive and still has legs. Street Fighter is superbly doing well. Mortal Kombat is what everybody plays, even though like there are some like technical problems with Mortal Kombat. What else is there? Tekken. There's still a lot of people playing Tekken, right? And especially for the hype that is for Tekken 8, a lot of players have been digging into like Tekken 8. And of course, you know, if you're playing around with the Khaiza's IRL friends group, it's also Smash. Smash is also like a fighting game that they like play. But the thing is with like KOF is that I guess it kind of like attaches like to me on like in a personal note, is that I started KOF back in like it. I knew of KOF's existence because of Maximilian_Dude. He is like my role model for like fighting games and topics and discussions of the like. So I love seeing him do like KOF introspectives, and of course doing online plays and character discoveries and all that stuff, right? So I love seeing his like streams talking about SNK stuff, and we're gonna be super like excited for the new Gauro game coming soon, right? Game looks fucking fantastic. It's an upgraded version of what KOF 15's graphical engine looks like. So Gauro is going to be a lot of fun. I'm personally going to be playing it, right? Day one when it like launches, when there's more information about Gauro. And if there's like a beta, I better get into Gauro beta, please, SNK, please, right? I'm asking for a bone over here. But ultimately, right? As much as I would love to like play Gauro, right? If I were to like get Gauro to like my other friends, no, they're not gonna play it, right? That's like the ultimate truth, and I gotta be like real, right? Is that, you know, a lot of my friends like fighting games, and they love the games that they actually do well in, right? Like they are super into Smash Brothers, and they are super into Tekken, right? And now it's like Street Fighter, and of course other anime games like Grand Blue, what was it, Blaze Blue, right? They pretty much like those games. I'm like a casual level, right? I respect Blaze Blue, I respect Grand Blue, I respect Smash. I'm not gonna play Smash, right? And I definitely dig Tekken, right? But it's kind of like me on like in a personal level, where if I like a game for, you know, what it is and like how it is, and like I'm always like the type of person that likes, what can I do in this game, right? What sort of like crazy batshit like combos, because everybody knows me, homies, is that the Khaiza loves combo based games, right? Tekken has that, so of course Tekken definitely has like my vote, right? But I just love like the Marvels, the Street Fighters, the KOFs, the Mortal Kombats outside of like 11. I just love seeing like, you know, what crazy possibilities that you can do combo wise and also neutral wise, right? You got like a lot of course, you know, that being said, right, the Khaiza can like learn neutral, right, do like high-low mixes and stuff like that, but that's just like general fighting game stuff, right? I always love like the crazy wacky combos that you can do like in a fighting game. It's like, to me, like memorizing execution, learning muscle memory, like buttons and stuff like that, right? And KOF really like sparked my interest. And also the characters look cool, the combat feels sick, the lore is fantastic, right? But if I were to like show anybody like KOF, like they'll think KOF is cool, but they're not gonna play it, right? And that's like the ultimate that's like, you know, the thing about you know, fighting games is, right, there comes like a multitude of like factors, and this is not just like KOF, this is for like any game that has like a really deep love for like the community and like in the lore for said like fighting game. Like if we were to like, you know, if we were to swap KOF out with Killer Instinct, right, or Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, or any game that has a really cool like art style and graphics or anything like that, right? Everybody will say, yeah, Power Rangers is sick, Killer Instinct is sick, Fight of Gods is sick. Any fighting game that they will say like it will be sick. But will anybody play those games? No. There are like a multitude of factors for, you know, not trying out like other like fighting games, right? And there are like, you know, different answers and results to these. One of them is like the biggest detriment for any like fighting game is time investment. We are, you know, stuck in this perpetual cycle of just yeah, work can be a pain in the ass. We gotta do mortgage, we gotta do finances, we gotta do our 9-to-5 jobs so that we can get our pay. And when we come back home, I just wanna like sleep and just forget the rest of the workday, right? And if I ask anybody to like, you know, let's say play like a fighting game with me, sometimes they'll be down, but for the most part, the expected answer will be is like, no, I'm too tired. I got like work to do, right? Which is, you know, kind of like bullshit because, you know, fighting games, and this leads to like the other thing is that fighting games are really like bare bones. They are the skeleton genre of video games, right? And what I mean by that is that you have games like, I'm looking at like my TV screen over here, it's like I have like Spider-Man 2 up and ready to like play. There is JRPGs, there's a lot of these stuff that you can play rather than a fighting game because of a story, because you're actually like in like the video game, like the immersion and all that stuff, right? Whereas like a fighting game, you don't really like get that, right? It's a very, again, like fighting games are very like a niche, nuanced genre, right? We don't have any of the modern day takes of fighting games with like the accessibility features like Street Fighter 6 has, or like a deep engaging cinematic story mode like a Mortal Kombat. No, SNK is through and through a traditional 2D fighting game. And what do traditional 2D fighting games really have in their main menu? Story / arcade ladder versus online missions, options, mission / trials, training. Those are the only like options that you will get in a traditional 2D based fighting game, right? And to a lot, that is very limited, right? And it doesn't offer as much, especially if you go through like an arcade ladder. The arcade ladder structure of a fighting game is you see like the first opening cutscene of like your character or your team, then fight a round robin of battles until you get to your rival battle. You get a rival cutscene, then fight the final boss. You see the final boss cutscene, and then you see like your ending. And rinse and repeat. You just do a lot of these endings a number of times until you get like an achievement / a trophy, and you're expanding the lore by doing arcade ladders, right? And once you're done, once you've played enough, then if you are willing and invested enough, play online against other people. And of course, not many people realize like the training mode is there, but training mode is there. You can actually go in a fighting game and like learn how to do like buttons, special moves, inputs, all that stuff, right? But the sad reality is that it's not engaging. It's engaging to those that are in the fighting game community climate, but for a casual Joe Schmo living like in a New York like apartment, nah, cut that shit, fam. I have no time to sit down and play a fighting game for at most like 5 minutes. Some people can play like a fighting game for like 5 minutes, you know, and just like train or do anything. Some people just like to just mash buttons and that's it. There's not many people understand the intricacies of like, you know, the fighting game the tools that a fighting game can offer for you, right? At the end of the day, right, fighting games are just like games that you play to, and I'm trying to be like real as I possibly can, right? You know, fight with your family members or your friends in a once in a blue moon scenario. They'll just be like mashing buttons, but that's like, you know, the standard for like a fighting game. somebody would say, yo, Khaiza, what about like Street Fighter 6, right? The game is like molded and made to like for newcomers, and they could like play in like modern controls. But again, right, this is a fighting game we're talking about, right? It will only reach like those people that are avid fans of the fighting game community. As for casual fans, very little attention spans, that they're not gonna like sit down and just like play like a character or grab like a character and go into like, you know, story mode and all that jazz, right? They need something more, right? They need something more engaging to pull them in. If they see like the standard like menus of like a fighting game or like the options that they get, they'll be like, all right, next. I don't have time for this, right? The game is not engaging enough, nor is it like interesting enough to that person's like eyes, right? So so time investment, fighting game limitations, right? There's a lot of things like comfort zone, right? Another reason is like, you know, especially back again to like my IRL friends, is like I don't want to play like a different like fighting game other than the one I'm like used to, and that's a real thing, right? Like I said, my friends are super into Smash Brothers, Grand Blue, Tekken, other like anime fighters. I think like some of them are really like getting into Street Fighter, right? But are they going to be trying like a different game after like that trial period? No. Right? I highly doubt that they will have like time to, you know, try out like a different like fighting game, because, you know, I just want to be good with the game that I am like best at and beat my friends who are not used to it. It's like that satisfaction, right? At least like I can be like competent in my fighting game rather than trying out someone else's who either could be sandbagging or not. I mean, of course, you know, I make it a point to never like sandbag in like my games. Like I played them, right? I'm not gonna lie or front that up. I'm not gonna lie or, you know, jinx myself on that aspect. I love like these fighting games. I love Killer Instinct. I love KOF 15. I love Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. If I have a vested interest for like that fighting game, I want to play. That I want to go into the lab and train my ass off and be like competent, right? I want to be competent in those games, but I'm willing to try other like games, you know, right? Because I'm a fighting game fan and I want to try out like other genres out there. I tried like Rivals of Aether with I tried Rivals of Aether with my homies, and that's a pretty good Smash clone, right? But me not fully into like the Smash Brothers realm as I was back in like my college years, I have little interest for Smash Brothers if I'm like personally watching it. I'll watch for, you know, courtesy with like my homies to watch like maybe like a Smash Brothers tournament, but for me to go out of my way to watch like Smash Brothers tier lists or Smash content creators, I have no interest. The game like exhausted me in the later years, right? Online was bad, even though the characters are super fun, but I wanted to like do combos with certain characters like Khaiza and Terry and Bayonetta, right? But there are really like no combos in like Smash Brothers, and I just like I want to do like cool stuff in Smash Brothers, like cool, interesting combos. But if the game has like the element of DIing, then I am not going to be playing that game, right? Bro, it's a combo. I get like, you know, other games have sort of like an element like that with like body weights, like in Dragon Ball, or different like height orders, right? But for the most part, I didn't feel good landing combos even in like training mode. I just only knew like my bread and butters, like, and I want to do some of like the cool shit that Smash Brothers really like does, but it just didn't like hit for me. And so I like ultimately gave up on like Smash. I never like played Smash Brothers ever again. It's just sitting there like collecting dust now. I refuse to like open it. But for a lot of my like my IRL homies that are into Smash Brothers, they play it like constantly, like even like today, to this day. And I don't know how they can like play Smash Brothers, but you know, of course, also subjectively, Smash Brothers, if you put into the limelight of like the FGC, comparatively speaking to other like hype-pleasing fighting games that are out there, if you're gonna ask a person, right, which one looks better in a spectacle level, Smash Brothers or Killer Instinct, or at least like to me, I would say Killer Instinct to me, because you know, of the elements that Killer Instinct works with gameplay-wise. Of course, Smash Brothers is going to win because, you know, like, it's got a huge ass roster and it's got Nintendo characters and everybody's a Nintendo head. But yeah, man, like excuse me, like it's like a comfort zone thing, right? And if you step outside of that comfort zone, right, you're not going to feel good. You're just only going to be helping out. You're just only going to be, you know, wanting this friend to like be happy, and you yourself are not going to be happy, right? So a lot of like factors, you know, make up like this like little like tweet down there, right? And of course, I'm going to be playing KOF, right? KOF is still like a super fun like fucking fighting game because it feels like my fighting game like needs and assets, right? I love KOF. I love like the lore. I love like the combo intricacy. I don't play like online per se because, you know, KOF again is high execution, so I can't gamble on like a very risky like rollback frame of like, you know, 100 or 200, because combos canceling into like special moves is what makes KOF tick, and I'm not gonna risk that by playing like by just like rolling the dice on like a random like matchmaking element. And of course, you know, KOF 15 has like problems of its own with, you know, the matchmaking. I heard like it got very good, but you know, it's just like a lot of like factors, you know, that come into play for like, you know, fighting games that are like, you know, really like good, that are really cool to like see, and you see like competitive level of set like fighting game, but are you really like going to play it? No, right? It's only like the major like cloud fighting games that get the like the most spotlight. Hell, Evo this year, they knocked off KOF to make it on a Saturday rather than on primetime Sunday because of the loss of like members, loss of like players and viewership numbers, right? So it was like, it's bound to happen, right? And KOF 15 is like the highest like pinnacle that SNK can like offer. It's still like making them a lot of like numbers and units with the fan favorite like DLC characters that came out of like these like seasonal passes, right? We're highly going to be expecting like season 3, but you know, SNK unfortunately has to like play second fiddle because, you know, it is, you know, a traditional 2D fighting game like company, and they just only know what makes them work, and it's fighting games, right? They don't have like cool accessibility. They don't have cool accessibility features like Street Fighter 6. They don't have like a cinematic story mode like a Mortal Kombat, right? Which is, you know, very unfortunate. But for me, I'll definitely play it. I'll definitely play KOF, you know, on occasion with my boy E-Skater from time to time, when there's like a new character, whenever I'm just like feeling bored, because SNK is awesome. I love like the combos. I love like the challenge that it offers when you do like arcade ladders, right? SNK is a fun franchise, and you know, SNK is like at its peak, but you know, at a very like, you know, casual level, or like, you know, people who are like coming back into like KOF, it's just like, nah, that's not gonna like work. But I'll still like play it, right? Ultimately, I'll still play like my fighting games and, you know, right, make them work some way or somehow. If you want to get like more fighting games to, let's say like KOF or Killer Instinct, which Killer Instinct will be getting like a 10th anniversary update around November 22nd, so that's like 4 days from now. But regardless, if you want to get like more growth for your fighting games, for the fighting games that you love, right, that are just like collecting dust, and you want to make them like shine and bring them out into like in the modern day, or even like introduce them to like in your friends, for a streamer, make more content, right? If you're like an individual, show content that people can have fun with KOF 15, right? That, you know, there's still like a player base that, you know, characters doing cool shit looks cool, right? And that's the thing that like with KOF always like strive for, is like the coolness factor. Even though they have like weird gimmicky characters like Sylvie Paula Paula, or like Hinako Shijo, which is like this like little girl that does like sumo shit. But through and through, SNK, in my honest opinion, has always been about like the cool factor and delivering like, you know, the cool aspects of like a fighting game, right? So I think like that's sick, right? And I hope like KOF gets like more attention like over the years, right? It's a don't underestimate SNK, because they will definitely like blow it out of the park when they throw out like new games, right? Like a new Garo or the next KOF game with even better graphic fidelities, right? That will be like KOF 16 would be like, you know, when we have like children or some shit, you know? But yeah, just like this like little talk on, well, little talk, try to be like, it's almost like 40 minutes. I'll lower it down as much as I can. But just this like little like talk about SNK, you know? Like it's definitely like underappreciated a lot, but I definitely want to rep more KOF in the future.